From Painesville, outside the nation's capital, Monrovia, good evening and welcome to Blaze News Point. 45 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. Today is Tuesday, August 4, 2026. My name is Menso Mendy on top of today's presentation. Stories topping the headlines: National Youth Congress of the Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction issues a 24-hour ultimatum to Nima County Senator Samuel Kogai to retain what the group describes as the heart of the party. President of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanubad, clarifies that the union's decision to engage lawyers following allegations against journalists do not automatically mean the media body is heading to court. Head of the West African Examination Council Liberia office, Dale Boto, dismisses reports circulating on social media claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. And away from Liberia, Cameroon President Paul Biya reshuffles the country's military leadership amid growing concerns over his prolonged absence from the public view. The news bulletin, the voices of those making the news and suppose are all packaged on today's presentation. But first is Stephen Taru and the news bulletin. Stephen, good evening.
Good evening, Mandy. The National Youth Congress of Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to Nima County Senator Samuel Kogai to return what the group describes as the heart of the party. MDR Youth Congress Chairman Zah Pili said the item was presented to Senator Kogai for a specific purpose, which was to help unite what he described as job to claim aid. Pali also challenged Senator Kogai to publicly return to the symbol, insisting that the Youth Congress remains committed to protecting the values and objectives of the MDR. The president of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanubad, says the union's decision to engage lawyers following allegations against journalists do not automatically mean the media body is heading to court. Speaking Tuesday in an interview on our sister program, The Blaze, Kanubad explained that consulting legal experts is aimed at seeking guidance on the appropriate steps and possible approaches in addressing the matter. He said the move is part of efforts to understand the legal framework and undermine the best way forward, especially amid calls for dialogue over allegations linking some media institutions to the ongoing drug trafficking investigation. The PUA president noted that while the media remains committed to holding authorities accountable, journalists must also consider the importance of ensuring the public continues to receive information during the fight against illegal drugs. Kanema added that the union remains open to all possible remedies, including dialogue, to ensure credible evidence is presented regarding the allegation. He warned that without supporting evidence, some members of the press union may view the claims against the media as unsubstantiated. The head of the Liberia office of the West Africa Examinations Council, Dale Boto, has dismissed the report circulating on social media claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. Boto described the report as a false and misleading, warning that such information could undermine public confidence in the examination process. Speaking Tuesday at the Charles Agbayan Press Hall in Monrovia, the WAEC Liberia boss urged the students, parents, and the public to really only on the social that's official communication from WAEC and disregard unverified information shared online. He assured the public that WAEC remains on schedule to release the 2026 WAEC result before August 14, 2026, and noting that the council is working to ensure the results are accurately processed before publication. Meanwhile, Boto acknowledged that WAEC encountered several challenges during the administration of the examinations, but maintained that those difficulties did not affect the credibility and integrity of the process. He said WAEC continues to collaborate with government institutions, security agencies, school administrators, and examination supervisors to ensure the smooth conduct of national examinations. The University of Liberia has begun discussions with Germany-based LDDD, that's DDAT education group, to modernize laboratory facilities across the institution's science, engineering, agriculture, fisheries, and health-related programs. Speaking in an interview on Monday, the university President Dr. Leila Mampea said the engagement is part of the university's broader institutional transformation agenda to strengthen science education, research, innovation, and workforce development. Dr. Mampea said the initiative seeks to provide students and faculty with modern laboratory facilities that will support quality teaching, practical research, and innovation capable of contributing to Liberia's national development. She emphasized that improving laboratory infrastructure remains a key priority in preparing graduates with the practical skills needed to compete in today's workforce. Meanwhile, Vladimir Shalankov, international project representative of LD, did that the education group highlighted the company's experience in designing, equipping, and supporting educational laboratories in more than 170 countries. He stressed the importance of hands-on learning, digital technologies, artificial intelligence, and modern laboratory systems in preparing students for the rapidly changing global world. Nima County Senator Samuel Koga says he is prepared to support any presidential candidates, including a member of the opposition, if he believes the person will serve the interests of Liberia and the people of Nima County. Speaking during a recent radio interview, Senator Koga said his political decisions are not influenced by public criticism or concern about whether some people trust his choices. He emphasized that his loyalty remains with people of Nima County, adding that any major political decision he makes will be based on consultation from his constituents. The Senator explained that if an opposition party approaches him to support its presidential candidate as a possible vice running mate, he will first return to Nima County to seek the views of the people before making any commitment. Coker said the opinions of our citizens who elected him will continue to guide his political actions. He further argued that the election of a president must bring meaningful development to Nima County, stressing that political leadership should focus on improving the lives of citizens rather than party loyalty. Liberian activist Martin Colley says his advocacy efforts have contributed to a significant increase in the salaries of teachers at Haywood Mission Institute in Mosurado County. According to Colley, his intervention followed complaints from several teachers who raised concern about how wages and alleged unfair treatment at the institution. Speaking in an interview with Prime FM complaints and internal documents from teachers in January 2026 detailing their salary challenges. He said from January to May 2026, he dedicated his time, resources, and advocacy efforts toward demanding improved welfare for teachers. Colleague claimed that teachers who were previously receiving salaries as low as 14,000 are now expected to receive between 36,000 and 75,000, with some earning even higher amounts following the institution's decision to review their compensation. Meanwhile, some teachers at Hewu Mission Institute who benefited from the salary adjustment have expressed appreciation to Koli for advocating on their behalf. The teacher also commended the institution's management for responding to their concerns and taking steps to improve their welfare. Several citizens across Liberia have expressed mixed reactions following the announcement by former President George Weah that he will contest the 2029 presidential and general elections. The announcement was made by Weah, the political leader of the Coalition for Democratic Change, during the CDC convention held in the United States of America. The decision comes after his earlier indication that he will step away from active politics following the 2003 elections. Speaking to journalists in Monrovia, some citizens welcomed the return of the former president, argued that some policies and programs introduced during the CDC administration have allegedly been abandoned by the current government. Other citizens, however, say if we are intends to make a successful return to the presidency, the Coalition for Democratic Change must reorganize and develop strategic plans to build a stronger political movement ahead of 2029. Meanwhile, some citizens disagreed with calls for Weah's return, describing his comeback as unnecessary due to what they call positive developments on the Boakakun administration. The cited improvement in electricity supply, access to water, road connectivity, and an increase in civil servants' salaries as key achievements of the current government. The government of Liberia has cautioned the public media institutions against spreading what it describes as reckless allegations on social media, linking the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and members of the diplomatic community to countries' ongoing drug trafficking investigation. Speaking Tuesday during the Ministry of Information regular press briefing in Monrovia, Information Minister Jolima Pierce said the diplomatic punches are protected under the 1961 Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations and cannot legally be opened or shared. Pierre stressed that while the government remains committed to fighting drug trafficking, it will also continue to respect international diplomatic protocols. He urged journalists and members of the public to verify information before publishing or sharing it, warning that unfounded allegations against foreign governments and diplomatic missions could damage Liberia's international reputation and diplomatic relations. And away from Liberia, Cameroon's President Paul Biya has reshuffled the country's military leadership amid growing concerns over his prolonged absence from public view. The 93-year-old president, who has not been seen publicly for nearly 2 months, appointed new officials to key military positions and promoted 5 colonels to the rank of brigadier general. Among those promoted is Rima Jean Charles Biko Abandu, who was immediately reappointed as commander of the elite presidential guard and the unit responsible for protecting President Biya. He has held the position since 2013. Blaze News.
Stephen Talud with the news bulletin is indeed a regular featured on Blaze News Point. For new, fast, factual, and always up to date, you are just in tune to Blaze News Point. They are the big stories topping the headlines. National Youth Congress of the Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction issues a 24-hour ultimatum to Nema County Senator Samuel Koga to return what the group describes as the heart of the party. President of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanuba, clarifies that the union decision to engage lawyers following allegations against journalists do not automatically mean the media body is heading to court. Head of West African Examination Council Liberia Office Diogoto dismisses reports circulating on social media claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. And away from Liberia, Cameroon's President Paul Biya reshuffles the country's military leadership amid growing concerns over his prolonged absence from public view. The voices of those making the news in sports are still ahead by this break. Toby, we're back. Welcome back to Blaze News Point. We don't take our first development. The National Youth Congress of the Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to Nema County Senator Samuel Kogai to return what the group describes as the heart of the party. MDRO Youth Congress Chairman Caesar Palace said the item was presented to Senator Koga for a specific purpose, which was to help unite members of the party, bring partisans together and strengthen the MDR's political direction. Party accused Senator Koga of using the party symbol to advance personal political ambitions rather than the objective for which it was given.
Honor my words as national youth leader, we gave Koga 24 hours to return a statement. He has to return the heart. We gave him 24 hours to return our heart. Let me be on record. Let me be emphatically clear. He has 24 hours.
What will you do?
Unconditionally return over the heart. Failure on the part to turn over the heart in 24 hours. We will examine many things and many times to ensure that the heart is taken back. Any means you think the heart might be taken away from Senator Koga might be taken. Why? We challenge him. It's an open challenge. The National Youth Congress placed Koga on an open challenge. A challenge to appear in any public gathering as of today with that heart. We will unconditionally take it from him by force. There are reasons for which we're going to do that. And we know we're going to that. Not afraid of nobody. There was an objective for which the heart was given. There was an objective for which the heart was given. The objective for which the heart was presented to Senator Samuel Koga was to unite, was to bring on board, sit on the table and unite MDR, bring up partisans from all across, like brought all hands on the table to redefine our struggle, to redefine our ability to see how well we can rally around and support this government in ensuring that Liberia is transformed under this regime. On the contrary,
That's the voice of Caesar Pallet, the MDRU chairperson, revealing that's issuing the 24-hour ultimatum to Nema County Senator Samuel Kogai to return what the group describes as the heart of the party. The president of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanuba, says the union decision to engage lawyers following allegations against journalists do not automatically mean the media body is heading to court. Speaking Tuesday in an interview on our sister program, The Blaze, that's the roundtable, Kanuba explained that consulting legal experts is aimed at seeking guidance on the appropriate steps and possible approaches in addressing the matter. He said the move is part of efforts to understand the legal framework and determine the best way forward, especially amid calls for dialogue over allegations linking some media institutions to the ongoing drug trafficking investigation.
There are different forms of blackout. Sometimes you come in black, for example, you come in black. You just publish black. Nobody will have access to news on that particular day. For instance, the Blaze FM is to get news at 6 o'clock or 7. The journalists say, no, we cannot give news because we are on a protest. So the public now put pressure on the RG or on the government to take certain actions in keeping with the demands of the media. But you don't want to use such a scenario because we are in a critical fight. I mean, the fight against the cartel, so to speak. If you are in such a fight, You don't want to deny the public access. Secondly, you don't also want to sit and allow the government to be operating without accountability, the security people. You also don't want the cartel to win, because the more you expose information about the cartel perhaps is being dismantled. So the issue of blackouts, withdrawing reporters, protests, we put all of those stuff. I mean, the membership said, go and further engage your lawyer. What that means, I know people have been writing, because sometimes when you use legal or lawyers, say, oh, you're going to court now. It is not necessarily the case. To consult the lawyers means you engage the lawyers, certain parameters of understanding as to how to engage, right? Because, I mean, there have been many calls for dialogue, for instance. We are open to all remedies in order to have the pieces of evidence adduced so that we can be able to prosecute. If not, then some members of the union say, well, we consider the statement as a loose trial.
That's the voice of the president of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanubak, revealing that the union decision to engage lawyers following allegation against journalists do not automatically mean the media body is heading to court. Today's development, the head of the Liberia office of the West African Examination Council, Dale Botton, has dismissed reports circulating on social media claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. Bodo described the reports as false and misleading, warning that such information could undermine public confidence in the examination process. Speaking Tuesday at the Charles Brown Press Hall in Monrovia, the WAEC Liberia urged all students, parents, and the public to rely only on official communications from WAEC and disregard unverified information shared online.
Just this morning, we saw a release. I guess that release is for one of you, because that may be a media institution in Liberia that we at WAEC are not aware of. In fact, the number of candidates that we don't even have taking the exam, it is indicated in our release that you have close to 620,000 plus students results being with and so forth. For the opportunity given us so that we can come and discuss some of these this information. I have come to give the public this assurance that we are committed to having our results released on or before the 14th of August. I'm certain that before the 14th of August, the results will be released, and I will plead with the minister to give us the opportunity to use this platform to release the results to the nation. But prior to the release of the results, there are authorities that have to have access to that result, and I can show you that hopefully early next week, those authorities will have access to the result. And once MOE and us agree on when we should release it, it is possible that we'll release it on or before the 14th. Other than that, we'll release the results on the 14th. As I speak to you, we have completed maybe about 90% of the post-processing processes. So that's why I'm hoping that on or before the 14th of August, the results will be released. The papers have been marked. Again, I want to appreciate the authorities at MOE for availing to us of the TTRs, KRTTR and CRTTR, where we were. We could not even spend the holiday with our families because, like in my case, I was invisible, and I want to appreciate the teachers.
Meanwhile, both were noticed that WAEC encounters serious challenges during the administration of the examination, but maintained that those difficulties did not affect the credibility and integrity of the process, and said WAEC continues to collaborate with government institutions, security agencies, school administrators, and examination supervisors to ensure the smooth conduct of national examinations.
You know, when you introduce anything new for the very first time in Liberia, there can be some challenges. So there were some challenges with the use of this digital platform to take the attendance of the candidates. Some school authorities already told us that they were not prepared to use them. So for that reason, we were not able to capture the attendance of all the candidates 100%. You know, whenever there are innovations, people always love to sit on the fence. Or this thing will not work. You know, but I'm happy that about 90% of the examination workers were able to utilize this platform. This platform platform was also meant for us to be able to capture in real time those who were participating in the exam and make us to pay them within the shortest possible time. However, because of the non-use or non-utilization of this platform by some of the exam workers, who could not fully capture all of the examination workers in this period. As a result, we had some challenges in paying all of the exam workers as we had earlier planned. Another challenge we had was the use of what is now being called in Liberia as dark rooms at some exam centers. Our school authorities have a specific room where they will place teachers, and by the time the examination questions get at those centers, either snap the questions or small code the question booklet in those places, and it will be answered and sent back to the children. That was a huge challenge in the control of the exam. But the greatest, there were two challenges. One, the non-supply of the mathematical set on time, and two, the use of the social media to disseminate misleading information. And let me just quickly talk about the mathematical set. Some of you are aware at the time you were in school, you brought your own mathematical set. I guess everyone of us in this room, at the time we were doing our exam, why did not supply us with mathematical set? But since 2019, we've been supplying the students who have become the two exam with mathematical set.
That's the voice of the head of the Liberia office of the West African Examination Council, Dio Boto, dismissing reports circulating on social media, claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. At the same time, acknowledging that WAEC encountered several challenges during the administration of the examination, but maintained that those difficulties did not affect the credibility and integrity of the process. The University of Liberia has begun discussion with a Germany-based LD-DTAC education group to modernize laboratory facilities across the institution's science, engineering, agriculture, fisheries, and health-related programs. Speaking in an interview on Monday, the University of Liberia President, Dr. Lady Mapayan, said the engagement is part of the university's broader institutional transformation agenda to strengthen science education, research, innovation, and workforce development. Dr. Mapayan said the initiative seeks to provide students and faculty with modern laboratory facilities that will support quality teaching, practical research, and innovation capable of contributing to Liberia's national development.
100-plus-year-old company that makes top-tier scientific and laboratory equipment. And in 2022, they came to the University of Liberia to do a site visit to see whether they could help us improve our lab. And they presented a possible framework for doing that, but for whatever reason, it didn't quite get implemented. So when I learned that, I said, well, why not have them back again? Let's just see what they have to say. Let's have them take a look at our labs and give some thought to how things have changed from 2022 to now. Because we know science is always advancing. It doesn't sit still. Equipment doesn't change. I mean, just think about it. You know, in 2022, we weren't even talking about AI. Now you can't do anything without AI. You know, their company adapts. So Dr. Michael Flowers, who I had met when he first came as the executive director of the Unipod, who also has a long history with the University of Liberia on a variety of levels, he was in Germany and he reconnected us with FUA, and he said, let me go talk to them and see, you know, how things are going, whether they'd be open to coming back. And they said they were. I was like meeting. We invited the all of the deans of the science, engineering, agriculture, as well as the chairpersons and some of the people from other lab areas such as Unipod that have, you know, lab-like things, as well as one of the associate deans. And we had a very important conversation. Mr. Shellicott was able to make a presentation about his company, what they do, how they could help UL, and then all of the science chairs and deans were able to talk about their department, their academic goals, what they needed, and then for the rest of the week, Mr. Shellicott and Mr. Flowers are going to be doing site visits where they actually look at the labs, talk to the people, view the curriculum. I don't want to take all his thunder because I'm sure he has a lot to say, but the idea is lab development has always been a strategic priority for me. It was a strategic priority before I even came.
Meanwhile, Vladimir Shaloko, international project representative of the LD-DTAC education group, highlighted the company's experience in designing, equipping, and supporting educational laboratories in more than 178 countries. He stressed the importance of hands-on learning, digital technologies, artificial intelligence, and modern laboratory systems in preparing students for the rapid changing global workforce.
Our company was established 112 years ago, 1913, in the middle of Germany, in the city called Göttingen, which is a not so popular name when you heard about the Germany, but if you are a scientist or you are working with the physics, you definitely know the city, because a 46 Nobel Prize winner was working, living or died in our city. And in fact, it is a small city compared to Max Planck, the one who was the father of nuclear physics. Max Born, it's not so famous name, but also the Nobel Prize winner, and the one who fly out from the Germany when the Nazis come in the power. But after the war was ended, he back to Germany and signed the documents about not relating to nuclear weapons inside the Germany. And there was the guys who was one of them. So even if we deliver equipment, it's still not working. And it also happens. So our goal is not only to develop what we can do, but also to be improved that when we deliver the equipment which.
That's the voice of Vladimir Shalako, international project representative of the LDD Tag Educational Group, highlighting the company's experience in designing, equipping, and supporting educational laboratories in more than 178 countries. Earlier on, you listened to the UR president, Lady Mapayan, revealing that the engagement is part of the university's broader institutional transformation agenda to strengthen science education, research, innovation, and workforce development. They spoke when the University of Liberia began discussion with Germany-based LDD TAC Educational Group to modernize laboratory facilities across the institutional science, engineering, agriculture, fisheries, and health-related programs. At the juncture, we now go over to Studio B, where Luke Joy is seated with the passion of last post. Luke, good evening.
Good evening, Mendy. Painesville FC have made a strong start to its preseason preparations after defeating Orange Cup champions Blackman Warrior 5-3 in a club friendly at the Samuel Kaindo Parade pitch. The City Boys deliver an impressive attacking performance, with new signing Emmanuel Bonaparte leading the way by scoring 2 in the encounter. Nasser Sarid, Prince Carter, and Moses Basid also find the back of the net as Painesville FC secured the 5-scoring victory. The result provides an added boost for the club as players continue preparation ahead of the new season. The technical team is expected to be encouraged by the team attacking display as the players continue to build match fitness and improve coordination on the field. Destin Keyboard Club are new champions of the 2025-2026 Liberia Keyboard Federation Bourgeois Ardent Subcommittee League after a commanding 7-0 victory over Daskat Keyboard Club in the grand final, playing before a packed crowd at the Bourgeois Ardent Sport Ground. Destin dominated from the opening inning with an impressive display in both offensive and defensive, leaving the opener without a response. A win caps on an outstanding campaign for Destiny Keyboard Club, securing the Bourgeois Island League title and confirming that status as the season deserved champions. Finally, the Liberia Basketball Association finals continue this Wednesday at the Samuel Kaindo Gymnasium as defending champion LPRC order battle to level the best of 5 championship series against rivals MPA Patons. The others entered the 2-game looking to recover from the opening defeat after losing 46-37 to Patons in the first match of the finals. Despite the status as reigning champions, LPRC others struggled to find the rims in Game 1 and will be hoping for a stronger performance to keep the title defense alive. Meanwhile, MPA partners will approach the game with a confidence following the impressive opening victory in Series 1 and will aim to take a commanding 2-0 lead in the series. A win for Patton will put them just 1 victory away from capturing the league championships. That's sports.
Many thanks to Luke Jode for the passion of last post. Indeed, a regular future on Blaze News Point. We're not taking more development. Several citizens across Liberia have expressed mixed reaction following the announcement must recognize and develop strategy to build a stronger political movement ahead of 2029.
So the first thing, personally as a Liberian, I am not surprised that George Weah will come back to the presidency. And the declaration of George Weah is not a surprise to people like me. I know very well that when you create or make something and you see that thing is being destroyed, you are on a moral. Why did he create? George Weah created so lot of things in this country. Number one, he created a free tuition act that Liberians are benefiting from at all the state-run universities and public colleges around the country. Is it being destroyed? What is happening now? The government is unable to manage that. You listen to the president of the United States. The free tuition policy is still ongoing. At the University of Liberia and other community colleges. The president of the UL, she said they're about to reverse it. They're about to take $10,000 from students at the state-run university. President, we have the right to say that he's coming for the presidency. And I may say yes, he may come back, I may say no, he may not come back. My position statement here is that I want to be very well independent in making my analysis of Mr. Weah coming back to the presidency. And Mr. Weah, history can set me correct that Mr. Weah win 40 out of 50 countries in this country. And unfortunately, in 2023, he lost the election with a low margin. So for Mr. Weah coming back to the presidency, I think that the CDC as a political institution needs to go and recalibrate. If the CDC as a political institution recalibrate, they can say yes, maybe the CDC can come out of power. But anything like that, we are seeing the core opposition is very weak. The core opposition cannot even stick to national issues.
That's voices of citizens across Liberia expressing mixed reaction following the announcement from former President George Weah that he will contest the 2029 presidential and general elections. Nima County Senator Samuel Koga says he is prepared to support any presidential candidate, including a member of the opposition, if he believes the person will serve the best interests of Liberia and the people of Nima County. Speaking during a recent radio interview, Senator Koga said his political decisions are not influenced by public criticism or emphasized that his loyalty remains with the people of Nima County, adding that any major political decision he makes will be based on consultation with his constituents.
If the vice president feel that important, we can work. If you feel you don't trust me, I don't care. You understand? I don't care. If tomorrow any opposition look at me and say, well, Koga want you this, I can't say no. The only thing I'll do, I'll go Nima and tell the person. Even he himself, I'll go to a horse. You will be surprised. I'll drive to you and say, well, this person I held my hand and say that I should go as vice running me. Nima not lost. In a vice presidency, when you win, Nima win. If I win, Nima win. Nothing change the vice presidency from Nima.
That's the voice of Nima County Senator Samuel Koga revealing that he is prepared to support any presidential candidate, including a member of the opposition, if he believes the person will serve the best interests of Liberia and the people of Nima County. Liberian activist Martin Cody says his advocacy efforts have contributed to the significant increase in the salaries of teachers at Haywood Mission Institute in Montserrado County. According to Quali, his intervention further complaints from several teachers who raised concern about low wages and alleged unfair treatment at the institution. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Prime FM on Tuesday, Quali said he received complaints and internal documents from teachers in January 2026 detailing their salary challenges.
Basically, as an activist, we have a commitment to the people and the country. So it was in January of this year, dozens of teachers reached out to explain their situation about their welfare, their well-being at the Haywood Institute. And we got concerned and involved because teachers should be treated with dignity. We believe that teachers are contributing sacrificially to national development. Therefore, we must treat them with dignity and give them a badge of honor. So we decided to fight for them. In fact, some of them were even getting as low as 14,000 per month. Imagine that. It is far below the minimum wage. So we advocated for them from January to up to May, and finally the administration of the EU Mission Institute has understood that it is important for the well-being and welfare of these teachers to be sought. So this is a major victory for them. Our work was to fight for them, and we did that with honesty and humility. And today, their salaries have been increased by 157%.
And lastly, of the news scene, the government of Liberia has cautioned the public and media institutions against spreading what it describes as reckless allegations on social media linking the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and members of the diplomatic community to the country's ongoing drug trafficking investigation. Open or surge. PR stressed that while the government remains committed to fighting drug trafficking, it will also continue to respect international diplomatic protocols.
So the government's attention has been drawn that there are allegations from the media network linking the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the ministry at large, as well as the diplomatic community, which is very troubling, who are stationed in Liberia to drug trafficking. Imagine the things we do to ourselves. Nobody can wake up in the morning and just call people names. Waka Jima is this, Jeremiah Kun is this, President is this. He is listening. They say nothing. They got two plus bulldogs sitting there just watching, waiting for somebody to say something about the very media. Then they come issuing ultimatums, etc., etc. If you have media network in your country, accusing not just your Minister of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but the diplomatic community. That includes great nations, America, Great Britain. Think about it, China. They are all part of the diplomatic community. Sit on one network and accuse them of being involved in drug trafficking. So for the education of the public, if what they were referring to is a question of diplomatic poachers, they contain letters from embassies, diplomatic missions, and international organizations. Diplomatic shipments also include personal effects of diplomats assigned to Liberia. Documentation for diplomatic poachers is sent by the Chief of Protocol of the Republic to the LRA under Article 27 of the 1961 Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. A diplomatic poach or bag is legally protected, meaning it must not be opened or detained. It must bear visible external marks of its character.
The information minister also provided an update on the ongoing drug investigation, disclosing that several individuals linked to the alleged trafficking operation remain in custody and are being questioned by security authorities. PR also revealed that security agency has recently attempted to intercept a suspicious vessel after receiving intelligence about its activity, but the vessel reportedly moved into deeper waters before it could be apprehended.
He said, we respectfully, on behalf of RB Atlantic, which is currently anchored at the location indicated in the attached land coordinate. According to him, the vessel is in urgent need of essential supplies, including engine, lubricating oil, fresh water, and food provision due to critically low engine oil level. The RB Alante is experiencing severely reduced engine performance and is presently unable to safely continue its voyage. To facilitate the delivery of these essential supplies, we have arranged the vessel to transport the required items to the anchored vessel. However, given the service vessel limited navigational capacity, kindly requests the assistance of the Coast Guard in providing an escort from the port to the vessel anchorage to ensure the safe and timely completion of the operation. The prompt assistance in this matter will be greatly appreciated as the RB Alante cannot safely resume its voyage until these critical supplies are delivered. To your favorable
Love to come to the end of the Tuesday, August 4, 2026 edition of Blaze News. We'll go to recap of the major stories. National Youth Congress of the Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction issues a 24-hour ultimatum to Nema County Senator Samuel Koga to return what the group describes as the heart of the party. President of the Press Union of Liberia, Julius Kanuba, clarifies that the union's decision to engage lawyers following allegations against journalists do not automatically means the media body is heading to court. Head of the West African Examinations Council Liberia office, Dioboto dismissed a report circulating on social media claiming that the 2026 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results have been released. And away from Liberia, Cameroon's President Paul Biya reshuffles the country's military leadership amid growing concerns over his prolonged absence from public view. Jose Benitez, our news director, editor, reporter, and correspondent, for making this edition of Blaze News Point or Sources. Luke Joe brought in the passion of last post. Helen Kabasa controlled and coordinated this presentation. On behalf of the News and Current Affairs Department of Blaze Communications Network Incorporated, my name is Menso Mendid Abrizente. Good evening and have a pleasant night from Painesville.